There are a lot of games that fly under the radar, and I feel like Service with a Shotgun in particular is 100% one of them. So, to give you guys a bit of context, I was doing the old scroll the Instagram feed while waiting for my bus, and I thought, coffee talk with zombies and a FNAF-like moving system? Well, sign me up. I think I'm a little bit of an expert on this. And genuinely, that is just the game in a nutshell. Well, not like the entire game, but just kind of the moving system. Think coffee talk with the NPCs and the characters and stuff, but instead of in a coffee shop, you're a retail worker, and instead of a bustling city with a bunch of diverse like races and stuff like that, you're in a zombie apocalypse where you don't have such nice people walking around. Yeah, instead of making lattes, you're making murder tays. Yeah. Where you fight off a massive horde of zombies coming from an alleyway, I think? I'm assuming that's the alleyway. Or maybe like some side building, or just, yeah, I don't know. Now, before I go fully into this, I did just kind of want to make this clear. I am playing the demo of the game because for some reason my chimp brain just managed to never even think, hey, is the full game out yet? So anything I say might be out of date and could be subject to change. So yeah, oopsie. So at the beginning of the game, you start off by being behind the counter of your new job, and your name is, it's you. That's just your name for the beginning. You're introduced to Mr. Boss, first name Mr., last name Boss. He tells, you to make sure that the customers stay happy and the zombies roaming around outside don't tear down the building, which I mean, it's not really ideal for business. After showing us the ropes, i.e. flipping around from customer service to apocalypse doom guy, and then to wary traveler merchant, I guess, because you get to buy stuff with the money that you make. And of course, showing you how to move around with your mouse. Honestly, I do really like this kind of like FNAF way of just flipping around. It's pretty quick, like barely any real like latency, and just really satisfying for me, to be honest. And a majority of the first chapter, you're mainly going to be turning left to either go to the alleyway or the shop. So you do at times need to go back to the counter, which you flip right, but you only really need to do that once, so it doesn't really get too confusing. Speaking of the shop, Mr. Boss does inform you how to actually make more cash than you'd normally make. So obviously you'd make cash from the customers coming in, and like interacting with them and whatever will give you money and stuff like that. But also taking out the zombies does give you money too. But we do learn that in the shop you can purchase ammo for your handgun, a med kit if you so happen to get damaged, which that's fair enough, and also a shotgun, which admittedly wasn't that useful for me. I personally didn't really use it a whole lot. I mean, I used it a couple times, but from like just moving on, it's not really like the best, to be honest. And we also do get shown a crucial aspect of the game: listening. Well, not necessarily like listening, just more of remembering, which I'm not very good at. In my defense, can you blame me when you get into situations like this? Hey, you're not saying much. How's your day? It's alright. What do you mean? Were you even listening? The zombies themselves are much more worthwhile killing rather than interacting with people, because of the fact that a headshot for a zombie is about $10, and I think a body shot is about $5. It's just, you just need to make sure that the zombie dies to a headshot, I believe, from what I understand. So as long as a zombie dies to a headshot, you get 10 $. A quick side note, the zombies look to have some sort of growth coming from their nose, but I like to think they all just have crazy mustaches, so we're gonna go with that. The first customer we need to deal with is a person called Amanda, whose first question upon entering our store is, you folks have iced matcha lattes? Yeah, in a zombie apocalypse. Totally normal behavior for someone in that situation. Then just starts trauma dumping about her ex. We learn later on that she has a very sporadic tendency to hire assassins to take out people. There's a situation where a guy we'll get into later is kind of hunting her down because she went on a hired assassin killing spree. But this is what I absolutely love about this game, is the fact that these characters are treating this like a casual Tuesday. Like, genuinely, it's just the fact that like they can just come into a store with the world filled with like mutants and zombies and stuff like that and just casually ask for a latte. I do also like how in any point while a character is speaking, unless it's a decision-making part, you can just straight up leave and fight the zombies for as long as you want, or from what I can see, as long as you want. They'll just kind of stand there and just tear into empty space, I guess. But like, there's no consequence to leaving them for that long. I mean, they don't steal anything. They just kind of wait for you to get back, like a cashier changing out, I don't know, the lottery or something like that. Later on, we do encounter some more characters like Dr. Scott, who upon meeting speaks like the average thesaurus, using words like perchance, hither, and awry, which I mean are common words, I mean other than hither, but unless you're British, don't think you'll be using these words in this situation. He does also mention that one of his experiments have gone wrong. He managed to fuse the DNA of a zombie and a grenade. And before you say it, grenades don't have DNA. I mean, even our character mentions that grenades don't have DNA. And he then later admits that he just strapped a bunch of grenades to very large zombies. The dick. At the end of our shift, we do meet a very chill guy called Russ. He shows us how to use the defense system to aid us, which turns out that this game is also not only a coffee talk with zombies game, but also now a weirdly addicting tower defense game. But an interesting thing about Russ is that he actually used to be a raider, but has left the life to pursue greener pastures, I guess. But throughout the week, we are introduced to some more characters like Justin. I'm pretty sure he dies, but he's the one hunting Amanda. Killmonger, your friendly neighborhood raider who had clocked out for the day. Keep in mind that his job titles are pillaging and murdering. And New Guy. Yep, that's his name as well. Like Mr. Boss, his first name's New, or his first name's Guy, I guess. And his last name's New, I'm assuming. But he also does have this weird plant thing growing out of him, and he used to be a part of a cult, but he's just kind of left it now. Or I'm pretty sure the cult failed, and then he left. Either way, he's a good guy, I think. As well as meeting probably the most unexpected, like, lore dump character ever. His name as well is one of them, like, weird names, being Murder Guy. I think you encounter him on, like, day 5 or something like that. But I want you guys to just take a very, very wild guess on what he possibly could do. If you said anything but murder, you're wrong. Yeah, he literally, like, walks in and goes right to the corner of the room and just, like, spawn camps, basically. But for some reason, the creator of the game just decided to just make him the most, like, lore dump character ever. To be fair, I don't mind it because I think that's kind of funny. But yeah, he goes on to explain why everything is the way that it is. So from what we can learn from him, there was this kind of super drug called Fixopran that enhanced the human body, mind, and soul, claiming that Fixopran made people basically immortal. Also as well, stronger, no disease, no aging, all that other good stuff. Which on paper, I don't really know how anyone really fell for that because that sounds very deeply suspicious. But yeah, it turned everyone into mindless zombies. Well, not necessarily mindless, but we'll get into that later. But Murder Guy goes on to explain that the survivors fled to Antarctica when everything hit the fan, hoping that the nukes would just kind of wipe out all the zombies to make it easier for the survivors from Antarctica to migrate back and repopulate the place. Murder Guy also does shoot down some rumors that our protagonist's mother used to tell him that the nukes caused the zombies, which apparently didn't happen. But moving on from that, some other events happen, like Dr. Scott bringing in Radiation Man for display purposes. He also manages to bring in a zombie at one point that actually speaks. Yeah, it turns out the zombies are just fully conscious, but just very hungry to where they can't control themselves when they see someone, apparently. We also get named Jones by Amanda, which kind of reminds me of the funny Fortnite man, but yeah. And also Killmonger has some mysterious fit where he mentions he can't stick around for something that'll happen tomorrow, which is definitely not a cause for suspicion whatsoever, and therefore more tower defense.
I'll take this and that, or at least one of those, and I gotta take that. Yes, no.
Amanda, after a couple days, begins to wonder who her parents were, having to chase down Dr. Scott, which he apparently had information about. She does actually find him within like a couple days, or possibly a day after like one of the shifts. And you know, Amanda's father, the creator of Fixopran, i.e. the creator of the zombies, that we learn from Dr. Scott, who actually reveals that he was his partner in crime, I guess, for this whole thing. Out of nowhere, Amanda became just kind of this silly gag character to like probably one of the more crucial characters, considering her dad is the creator of whatever's going on. Which, I mean, if you do look at Dr. Scott, he kind of does look like he has some involvement with this zombie thing. I mean, keep in mind, if you just look at Dr. Scott, I feel like he just looks like he has some involvement in this anyway, so it's not really the biggest shock in the world that he's the partner of the guy who actually made the entire virus happen. We learn later on that as New Guy kind of moved into the store and stuff, him and Mr. Boss kind of went down into the tunnel and basement section, I guess, of the store and just managed to find this big, weird, big blob thing. It's hard to say, they just called it the big blob, but apparently it's in sort of a crater that a nuke actually made, and that it absorbed a lot of radiation, which isn't so bad for us, but considering the fact that Mr. Boss has been sleeping in the basement the entire time, he's probably experienced a lot of exposure. As Mr. Boss does panic about the fact that he could be possibly dead, but Amanda's dad does try to reassure him that there's some sort of fix to this, and like, oh my god, what the hell is this? After that grand betrayal of Killmonger, which I'm genuinely quite upset about because I thought he was a chill guy, but apparently not. We actually had to watch Mr. Boss die right in front of us. We end up in the tunnel system underneath the store that we're working at. Mr. Boss mentioned it multiple times. We did have to walk for quite a while to get to the place that we are now, being what you can see in game, which conveniently is also behind a desk with a computer and our trusty little lo-fi machine that dispenses lo-fi, I guess. I like to think it's a cassette player that our character got really attached to and just keeps bringing along everywhere he goes. But we're now introduced to a couple new mechanics. So instead of zombies now, we're fighting raiders from the raiding party that Killmonger, I guess, led. But also, a quick observation that you probably already noticed is that the raiders are not dropping any money.
Where's my fucking money, motherfucker?
The characters are mostly not giving you any money. And the giant ant that you're fighting doesn't drop you any money.
Where's my fucking money?
Instead, they drop bullets and health. You do get money occasionally, but I think it's more of a setup for the next chapter, which this demo doesn't go past chapter 2, so. But yeah, so these raiders, they don't drop any cash whatsoever. They just drop bullets. They take 2 bullets to down. However, they don't always drop 3 bullets, which I kind of learned the hard way multiple times. They drop anywhere from 1 to 3 bullets, so sometimes you'll kill a raider and they'll drop 1 singular bullet. And I do like this kind of challenge mode, I guess, of this one chapter where it's you have to manage how many bullets you have to fight the giant ant and then trying to get more from the raiders and just praying to the RNG gods that you actually get one. From what I could tell, you don't actually, there's no extra bullets you get if you hit a headshot. It's just if you kill one, you just get a bunch of bullets, or you get very little bullets depending on what you do. There is a tactic for the giant ant though, where you do need to kind of like just shoot its legs first before attacking its head. Something in lore to do with muscles and whatever, I don't know. But a decent tactic that I kind of figured out was to shoot out its legs very early, and then you can just kind of use the light source kind of around you to tell where the ant's gonna be, and it kind of just crawls toward you, so you have a decent amount of time to actually like react to them or interact with your kind of party of misfits, I guess, while dealing with the raiders. And then when the ant gets decently close, just kind of shoot it a couple times and you just get a bunch of health back. So decent tactic, but a bit meh. But after surviving ant head collecting and just general trying not to die, the gang manages to get together what I can only assume is a boat that they got from somewhere deep in the caverns, and that they managed to turn it into a car, just as the orcs intended. But after the final day, we plan to enact our vengeance against Killmonger for raiding, I guess. But we enter in like the most unique like thing that I never expected, being just like a whole 3D joyride. Keep in mind, we actually could not control the car whatsoever. It was just more of us in the back with an LMG, and we could just kind of like shoot things. And to be fair, most of that kind of sequence was like 80% driving and not controlling anything, 20% mowing down everything in sight. So it turned from coffee talk plus survival to shoot 'em up type thing. I don't know how to say. It's just so like unexpected basically. But after that, we do actually manage to get to the store, which we do eventually enact our vengeance on Killmonger. Keep in mind, we didn't actually kill him. Russ was just trying to talk him out of it. But I did manage to take out a lot of raiders, so that's a good plus. On our way back, I do actually encounter this really weird alien thing. Upon closer look at the footage, it just looks like a zombie with a different sprite. Or I'm just going crazy mode and that's just a regular zombie. I don't know. And that's where the demo actually ends. So overall, it's a very unique game. It's weird amalgamation of different ideas, but executed brilliantly, in my opinion anyway. I think, like, keep in mind you can actually change how many zombies you have to deal with. I think the way that I put it, which is like the default way, is pretty perfect. It's not overly stressful, but it does punish you sometimes. So for instance, when you're in a dialogue scene and you have to choose kind of different answers, zombies can still attack you at that point in time. So you need to react kind of quickly and also just kind of remember things as quick as you can, or just get it wrong. There's no real like massive consequence. They'll just be a little bit pissy with you, I guess. But yeah, I really liked how charming the characters were. And the game clearly didn't take itself seriously, which it adds to the charm. I do think it's a really like nice, somewhat cozy type game with a pretty funny story, in my opinion. I wouldn't say it's the most in-depth thing in the world, but it's pretty funny. But it's just the fact as well that like the environment around you is just like not interactable, but things change. It almost reminds me of Lethal Company, which I did forget to say earlier, but how the store actually looks, along with like, you know, the kind of cavern section, the ant, it does use 2D assets, but I just think like genuinely it works perfectly. Obviously making 3D assets would be a bit meh, so having 2D assets is just like, I don't know, there's also a more charm to seeing like 2D sprited zombies coming up toward you instead of like detailed 3D ones. And obviously as well, the characters are all pixelated 2D ones, which I personally enjoy, so yeah. Now I know I'm an idiot for somehow not even seeing that the game's already been fully released and that I was playing the demo, but I objectively really like this game and I'll probably be buying the full game pretty soon. So if you liked what you see, get it as well. It's only about like $4 or something like that. I don't know. In conclusion, I like it. Okay, bye.